All right, well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Rex. Thanks everyone for being here today. I can't see the room actually, but I'm just thrilled to be here with all of you. We do have some people that are joining in also from their respective locations, which is wonderful. Oh, there you are. Hello, everybody. Wonderful. Nice to meet you. We also have some people, I have Jill here and a couple others, Clara, Phil, that have joined in as well. So we appreciate having you. Certainly this is being recorded. And so if you have to leave or you miss a part of it, it will be recorded for future viewing as well. And as Rex said, my name is Deanna Oliver. I am one of the owners of Urban Polling. And we've been working here in Canada. Urban Polling has been in existence for about 16 years. We've expanded in other parts of the world, Australia, the UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Israel, and certainly the US over the last few years. I would say it's still a relatively new concept, but we're really excited to be working with you. And certainly this form of fitness and rehabilitation is growing rapidly, which we're very excited about. And Rex, just to say, I have made you a co-host as well. So if additional people come in to the waiting room, you're welcome to let them in. I'll also try and keep an eye on that myself. And also just the chat button for those of you that are not participating in the room, feel free to just type into the chat and we'll do our best to manage all of those questions. So just starting off on a bit of a light note here, I'm sure many of you have seen this cartoon before, but I love it because we know that exercise is truly the best thing that you can do for your health. Obviously, you guys are committed to that. You're participating in these types of classes. It's something that's important to you, as it should be, because it is the best thing that we can do for ourselves to maintain our health and to prevent certainly any type of chronic condition. This is truly the key. So I just love kicking off with this because I think it just highlights the reason that we're all here as well. So just briefly, some things that we'll talk about today. What is Urban Polling Nordic Walking? If you haven't heard about it or tried it, I wanted to give you that perspective. Also talk about the benefits. There are many, many benefits. There's now over 300 studies on this, so too many benefits to actually cover off in the time that we have, but certainly I want to give you an overall perspective. Talk a bit about our polls and our programs specifically and the wide variety of options that there is for this type of program, certainly within a community like yours. And then, of course, supporting the Lincoln Hills Pro Shop, and we'll finish off with any questions. Please feel free, ask anything that you would like. We love to hear from you. And even afterwards, if you forget something and you want to come back to us, we're happy to respond as well at that time. This is Kathy here. I always like to show Kathy because she's somebody that really decided, one day that she wanted to make a significant change in her health. Weight loss and managing her diabetes better was one of her key goals, and she lost about 90 pounds with proper eating and urban polling. So just a nice way to kick off. And also, because we've been in business now for 16 years, we've had the benefit of really thousands of testimonials that have been shared with us. People love telling us what a difference the polls and program have made in their life. This is one here from Alice. She said, these polls are a great aid to balance if you have knee or back issues, easy to use and really great to get your heart pumping. I highly recommend them. So just before I get into exactly what it is by definition, I just wanted to show you a quick video so you can see what this form of fitness really looks like as you get going. And I want you to remember this type of technique that you're going to see here. Rex mentioned there's two different types of techniques. There's the angled technique, and then there's the technique where you use the poles more perpendicular to the ground. This is the angled technique. So I just wanted to have you see this in action, and then you'll see the other technique in action as we move through the presentation. Rex mentioned that you have many, many trails in the area. Just a really nice thing about the poles is that really your gym is wherever you are. You take them out on the street, a local trail, a path. Again, so many options to be able to stay fit and to use the urban poles, whether it be indoor or outdoor. And we'll talk about that a little bit more after. But that was a nice review of the angled urban poling technique. The poles really helping to propel those ladies forward and improve their general fitness. So what is urban poling Nordic walking? Essentially, it is combining specialized poles with walking. How many of you, just by a show of hands, or if you want to type into the chat, how many of you have heard of or tried cross-country skiing? Beautiful. Oh, wonderful. So we have some real pros here. So then you understand the general feeling that we're trying to achieve in terms of getting those arms pumping, really engaging the upper body. And of course, as you're walking, you're clearly getting that lower body engagement as well. One of the nice things about the poles and adding urban poles to your walk is that you are getting improved balance. It's all about strength, which I'll talk about more in a moment. And of course, you're walking, so you're getting that cardiovascular activity. Really, when you think about the sweet spot for any chronic disease prevention and management program, is when you're combining strength training and aerobic training in one workout. And that is the beautiful thing about urban poling, is that you are getting both those things. So certainly you could go out for a walk and then you could do weight training later in the week, and that's wonderful. As long as you're getting in that combination on a consistent basis, that's fantastic. But in this particular situation, you're getting a really efficient workout because you're literally getting both those things in one. And I think that is why this has grown so much in popularity. I think this is why in Canada, it is viewed as not only just a fitness activity, but certainly from a healthcare perspective, doctors, nurses recommend this. Again, very much so for an older adult population to be able to support health and longevity overall. And so why is this so spectacular? I've touched on this, but this is really the key. And a lot of people don't realize all of the benefits as it relates to this, but we know that when we're walking, we're using about 40% of our body's muscles, everything from the waist down. So you see all those muscles that are highlighted in blue, the glute max all the way down to the tibialis anterior. Those are all muscles that are actively engaging when we're walking. When we add the urban and activator poles, now we have our upper body muscles engaging. So not only our lower body, but our upper body. So everything there in purple, all those muscles highlighted in orange. And importantly, which we'll touch on in just a moment, the core muscles, okay? And those are extremely important for stabilization and balance. So because you have all these additional muscles working, nearly 90% of your body's muscles are actively engaging when you add the poles. At minimum, you're going to burn 20% more calories, up to 46%, depending on how fast you go. And that is with either style of pole. If the activator pole, which I believe the ones that Rex has there to be able to see, if it is the activator pole and that's the type of pole that you need, then you're still getting that caloric burn. Okay, whether it be the urban pole or the activator pole, you're still getting that caloric burn. Either way, it's just a matter of what technique is right for you, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But really think about it. How many activities can you do where you're engaging nearly all your body's muscles at the same time? Very few. And as I mentioned before, the research on this is exploding. So about 8 or 9 years ago, when I first kind of came into the company, I was a consultant. I actually used the poles first. So before I even became a part of the company, I was a user. I used the poles to help me rehabilitate from a very strenuous pregnancy. And with my son, I almost had a heart attack when I delivered him. So I used it for cardiac rehab as well. And so I have firsthand experience as to how beneficial this can be. But at that time, when I started with the company, there were about 55 published studies. There's now well over 300 and growing by the day. And there's 18 studies on our poles and program in particular, because we are so unique. And we're very, very proud of that. So at the end of the day, some of these key benefits, as I mentioned, around increased caloric burn, which of course can help us maintain a more healthy weight. Certainly that's very important for all aspects of our health. Core engagement, it's about 1,800 abdominal contractions per mile. That's significant. That's hugely significant. Again, as I mentioned, I'll talk about it in a moment, but the core is so key for balance. It's key for posture. It's what's helping us to keep upright, essentially. The more that we can engage those muscles and keep them strong, the stronger we are overall. Because we're engaging so many of our body's muscles as well, we know this in terms of glucose management, the more of the body's muscles that are actively engaging, the more of that glucose is being taken up simultaneously because glucose is absorbed in an exercising muscle. So this has to be one of the best forms of fitness for those that may be at risk of diabetes, that may have type 2 diabetes. This is something that can certainly help you to better manage your glucose. And be aware of that. Make sure that you have a snack before, have a snack with you just in case as you're first starting, because the impact can be significant almost immediately. It also helps to take the pressure off your joints. Again, because you have those 4 points of stability, and we'll talk about more of the features and benefits of the poles that allow for that. It does tend to take the pressure off your load-bearing joints. It's helping to improve balance and posture. You have those 4 points of stability on the ground as opposed to just 2. So pushing down into the poles allows you to stand more upright and, of course, maintain your balance. And then improving gait. And this can be everything from maybe you're just skewed a little bit to one side, or perhaps you have a condition which is rendering your gait compromised. This is something that is proven to help restore that. And gait just means the way that we walk, our natural rhythm for walking. So certainly with all these studies, and again, so many more benefits that I can't take you through today, definitely an engaging activity, but I will say still the number one reason why people choose to participate in these kinds of classes is that they're just a lot of fun. They're social and they have a great time while doing them. Here's another wonderful quote. This is from Ebob. You say, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and while I walk just fine, I struggle to rise from a kneeling position. After a recent fall in my driveway, attempting to straighten up from a bent position, I decided it would be best to have a device to assist me. Because arthritis affects my wrists, I wanted something that would not depend on grip strength. These fit the bill. The design of the handle takes the pressure off my wrists, and I can hold the poles with a loose grip. Using both poles, I rise with ease and stability with no pain. I also hike, and I plan to use these for steep climbing. It is easy to adjust the height of the poles, and they appear well made. Just another nice client testimonial. So one of the things that Rex wanted me to explain to you is really, what is the difference? So why has Lincoln Hills chosen to have their fitness instructors trained through our education, and what is the difference in the poles? So you see on the left-hand side, that is what a traditional Nordic walking hiking pole looks like. So you have a very thin handle with a strap. Oftentimes you have a twist lock instead of a button lock, okay, in comparison to the activator poles. They may or may not have anti-vibration features. Very often you hear a rattling, a clicking, and you can feel things kind of going back through your body. Oftentimes, they don't have any tips, which of course is not ideal for anti-vibration. You have this little metal tip on the end that's constantly hitting the pavement. I think one of the big things that you don't necessarily know until you try a pole like this, and we're not knocking anything, there's a time and a place for everything, just highlighting the differences in why certainly as a community you have embraced our program and poles in particular. Something that you won't be able to tell from another pole is the offloading potential. So how much weight can you put through those poles before they collapse on you? And I would say the average pole, I'll just let Cindy in here just a moment. There we go. Welcome, Cindy. The average pole, you can weight bear about 30 pounds per pole, okay? The activator poles can weight bear 200 pounds per pole. So if you really need to be able to lay into these, if you have weaker joints, you have some pain, maybe you're a candidate for surgery, maybe you've already had hip or knee surgery, these are going to support you a little bit differently. And not just our activator poles, even the urban poles, because of our design, and you'll learn more about really what makes us different in a moment when I introduce you to Mandy. With these poles, even the urban poles, they will offload 90 pounds per pole. Okay, so all of our poles have a higher offloading ability to be able to truly support you, whether you're in a seated exercise class, a standing class, or certainly if you're walking with the poles. And I think the anti-vibration features are another key feature that certainly when you feel and try the poles, you will notice. Even if you've tried other types of poles, you will feel and see a difference. The ergonomic strapless handles you will find on all of our poles. The core grip handles really are what sets us apart, I would say. This is what got us approved by the Arthritis Foundation in the US under their Walk with Ease program, their ease of use program. Because of these features, they just felt that these poles were better for those people that may or may not have arthritis or just a weaker grip strength to be able to use. So we're very, very happy with certainly the design of the poles and the feedback that we consistently receive. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Another big thing to notice is at the very bottom, the bell-shaped tips for stability. So if you do have any kind of condition or that renders your balance compromised, or you just feel a little uneasy on your feet sometimes, these bell-shaped tips allow for a greater surface area to be able to support you as you're walking or using them in an exercise setting. And as I mentioned, one of the big things that really separates our company from any other company in the world that's doing this is the fact that our poles have been designed by an occupational therapist for safety and efficacy. And certainly for an older adult population, we tend to be the #1 choice. So here in Canada, without a shadow of a doubt, we are sold in just about every retailer across the country that is geared towards that market. The core grip, as I mentioned, is key for a number of reasons. One is just comfort. It's ergonomic. There is a right and a left. You will see on the top of the poles, you will see right at the palm grip, there is an R and an L clearly delineated. That's really important, certainly just for comfort of overall use. Also, they are strapless by design for a couple reasons. One is that your wrist is always maintained in a neutral position when you are actually applying pressure. And simply by pushing down into the ledge, you don't have to push very hard. This is what's actually going to help you to engage your core muscles, hence core grip, core muscles, and upper body muscles. And that's whether you're sitting, standing, or actually ambulating, actually walking with the poles. So that core grip handle is absolutely significant. Another key piece, as I mentioned again, is the fact that the poles are strapless. A lot of the poles, as I showed you previously, you will see have a strap attached to them. And what research does support is that the highest risk of injury, even though this is very safe overall, if you do happen to fall, you don't want to be stuck to a metal rod. Okay, so that is what research supports, is that the highest risk of injury is associated to the strap if you do happen to fall. Okay. A lot of people also, I will just say from teaching this for many, many years, a lot of people find the strap cumbersome. So they say, well, that's all right. I just won't use it. I'll just, abandon the strap and I'll just kind of hold on to the grip. Once you've done that, you've actually negated part of the benefit of Nordic walking. Remember that I mentioned the key benefits of Nordic walking are achieved because you're getting resistance, which through our poles, you're getting by pushing into the ledge of the handle, okay? In the case of a strap pole, that resistance comes partially through pushing through that wrist strap. However, you're always in a non-neutral position. So your wrist is in a non-neutral position when you're pushing into that strap. Repetitive strain on a non-neutral joint is never ideal. Okay, so that is the reason why it's strapless. And if you have tried other types of poles and you're not using the strap, then in actuality, you're not getting the complete benefits. So these are some of the key reasons, certainly for posture, core strength, and stability that really make our poles quite unique from actually any other in the market, so much so that we are actually FDA registered in the US market. And what I mentioned before is the core of our body, so our abdominals, our latissimus muscles, basically everything that's wrapping around our waist, all those muscles, the stronger that we can keep those, that is essentially our center of balance. Right? So the strength that we maintain there, the more balanced we are, the more upright we are, and certainly the less kyphosis that starts to set in, right? When we start getting that little bit of curvature coming forward, it's these muscles that's going to help to promote that additional stability. And as I said, and the beautiful thing is that in speaking with Rex and your program coordinators, really, they've brought in everything you see here, essentially. So what was available to them, they brought in. They wanted you to have all of the options to be able to make the choice that was best for you, aside from the one that says coming soon, because it hasn't even hit the market in Canada either. But everything else you have. So the activator line, certainly the main activator is likely what Rex has there in the class. The activator 2 for people that are over 6 feet, or maybe they need a little bit more offloading potential, the activator 2 would be for them. The Moda, this one we haven't been able to keep in stock. The ladies love it. Moda means style, and it's just a beautiful looking pole. And then certainly the urban poles as well, just depending on what you need. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's the activator poles that you're always using perpendicular to the ground, supporting balance and stability, versus the urban poles that you saw in the video that were being used on the angle. And again, it's just about understanding where you're at and what pole would be best for you. And part of that Rex can certainly help you with, and his team, and part of that I can help you with as well. Okay, so lots and lots of options, all with therapist designed features for your safety and certainly efficacy in mind. Here's another great quote we received. I actually don't know how to pronounce this person's name. I'm going to say Dennis Becker, but whoever they are, they said they allow me to walk with stability and confidence. You can't ask for much more than that. And now I'd just like you to meet Mandy. So I mentioned all of our poles, our education, so the courses that Rex and his team took to be able to teach this to you guys. This was all started by my business partner, Mandy Shintani. She's an occupational therapist by background. As I mentioned, she started the company 16 years ago. And this will just give you a little bit of background on our poles and also show you the breadth of options and the number of people that they can actually help depending on where they are at in their health journey. So let me just play this for you. Just give me a show of hands. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear this. So just give me a little wave that the volume's coming through okay. Oh, just a moment.
Hi, my name is Mandy Shintani. I'm an occupational therapist and gerontologist by background from Urban Polling. I'm excited to introduce the evidence-based activator poles, which were designed to improve the treatment outcomes for your clients' core strength, posture, balance, while normalizing all aspects of gait in terms of stride length, gait speed, and arm swing. It's also an effective alternative to canes, which promotes movement of both arms and weight bearing on the affected leg for stroke rehab. It may also be an option to reduce or delay the use of walkers to prevent kyphotic posture, promote normal arm swing, improve gait speed, and core strengthening. It's an alternative to crutches, which can be awkward for some of our clients to use while promoting offloading on the hip and knee joints. Let's hear a testimonial from Dr. Jack Taunton, our Chief Medical Officer for the 2010 Olympics, and who also underwent 7 spinal surgeries.
My name is Dr. Jack Taunton. I'm a former international marathoner. I'm in a body brace. I've lost control of my right leg. But with poles, I can now walk 3 and on the weekends 4 hours a day. If I was to do this with a walker being bent over, I'm in a body brace to keep me upright. That doesn't make sense. And a cane is the same thing. This, I'm upright and that I can power.
Activator poles are used for seated, standing, and pre-gait exercises to improve balance and confidence, to promote larger movements, which are key for Parkinson's rehabilitation, and promote an upright posture. To find out more information.
So just a nice video, just really highlighting all the differences. I know when Rex had first come to us and said, this is amazing, this is something that I really want to bring to my community. And then in speaking with his team and upper management, one of the areas that they mentioned that they really wanted to be able to hone in on was to be able to offer options for those that have Parkinson's or balance concerns. And so I did want to share this quote. Larry actually hosts, some of you may know him, he hosts a podcast for Parkinson's. It's called When Life Gives You Parkinson's. He's also one of the bloggers for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. He does a podcast for them as well. And this is what he said. He said, these activator poles should be called confidence poles. I love them. They give me a sense of balance and security. I have the confidence to go into an airport, go for a hike or a long walk with my family. I can say yes. And so this is something that I know, a class option that will be offered at Lincoln Hills, which I am absolutely tremendously excited about, because I know when it comes to Parkinson's in particular, the difference is immediate. People feel it, they love it, and they want to learn more and continue to do it for themselves, but not just for Parkinson's. As you saw, there's so many ways, and just that video in the beginning, just getting out for a walk and being able to be in the fresh air and to glean all those benefits of using all your body's muscles. At the end of the day, there actually is no better brain training. When you have all those muscles triggering, there's a whole lot in your brain that has to be happening to let that happen. So it truly is just a wonderful, wonderful form of fitness and rehabilitation. And whether you choose to participate in a group class setting, whether you're going out on your own just to explore down your street, perhaps you want to go out with a friend, maybe you want to participate in a seated exercise class. I know this is something that will be offered as well. It's an excellent option, or even just, to go out with your grandchildren and your family. This is one of those activities that truly bridges all ages and stages. It's just a matter of understanding which poles are the right ones for you. And the nice thing about the urban and activator poles, we get these calls all the time from customers and even the stores who forget. As soon as you remove, whether it be the bell-shaped tip or the boot-shaped tip on the urban poles, you have this carbide steel tip. So you get the benefit of both. So you have this, if you're going off terrain, maybe you're in a grassy area where it's a little bit slippery, or you're on a trail where there's gravel or sand, you're going to be able to use these carbide steel tips to be able to grip better, versus if you're going down the street or a sidewalk, more of a paved trail where you have the rubber, which is part of the anti-vibration and also the grip. And you have the benefit of many, many accessories like the snow and sand baskets that you can always add on if you plan to do some beach walking, or maybe, I realize you're in California, but perhaps you'd like to go and do a little bit of snowshoeing or take advantage of another area. Certainly the poles can take you there. And again, just so many options. I just wanted to highlight this. This is a breast cancer group, but literally the options are endless, because truly at the end of the day, there's very few people who couldn't benefit from this form of fitness. And this is just a final example of, again, seated classes, standing classes. There's so many dynamic ways to use the poles. And simply, as these people are doing, even just by standing, they're pushing into the handles each time, activating their core and upper body muscles each time. So as I mentioned, your community has really embraced this in all capacities. So the full line of urban activator poles are available at the Pro Shop. Just some reminders, the activator line are mainly for people that do have concerns over their balance. Perhaps they've fallen before, or they know that they're at risk of falls due to a particular condition. And so the activator line would certainly be for you if you fit into that quadrant. We also like to say long-term outcome of a condition. So somebody at early phases of Parkinson's, I'll use that as an example, could probably use the urban poles, the For Life or Series 300, these pink and blue ones that you see in the photo below here. However, we know that eventually that person will likely need greater stability and support. So we recommend just starting off with the activator, and then perhaps just purchasing the boot-shaped tip to go along with them. Okay, boot-shaped tip, you can see it here versus the bell. So that person would start off, if they had Parkinson's early phases, maybe their balance was okay, but they wanted to get used to the poles because certainly they would help them. They could use the boot-shaped tips to start and then eventually switch to the bell-shaped tips when they needed that additional support. Orthopedic issues, I would say if you've had a surgery in the past, hip or knee surgery, or you're a candidate for surgery, or you're just feeling quite a bit of discomfort, hips and knees, even ankles, then the suggestion would be the activator. Also, if you have limited grip strength due to arthritis, certainly the button lock system of the activator poles, you can see it there on the Moda, all the little holes, that's a button lock system on all of the activators, are a little easier set up versus the urban poles, which are a twist, okay? So the urban poles, generally, you don't have any of the concerns up above. You're just looking to get out, maybe use the poles for just upping your fitness, a little bit of hiking. Again, you can do all of that with the activator line as well. You just have to know where you fit into those quadrants. And just really excited to share, I'm sure Rex has mentioned, and perhaps you've seen some of the advertising that's just beginning, but classes are starting very, very soon. So I do encourage you to participate. I know from all of our experience, really all over the world, people love doing this, and I'm excited for you, and I'm thrilled to have been able to have been here today to talk to you. Just to finish off on a testimonial here, this is from a person called Pi. They said, great for working arms and core with gait, allows for reciprocal arm swing like normal gait. The handpiece allows for increased stability as opposed to poles with just a strap. So again, thank you so much for having me.